Shay and I have combined over 10 years of pickleball experience, and we've learned a lot over those years.
So we're going to break down the 10 most important pieces of advice that we've ever gained so you can improve way faster than we ever have.
Subscribe, it helps us out more than you think, and let's get into it. The first and maybe most important piece of advice that I ever got is that pickleball is a marathon, not a sprint. And specifically that refers to working your way up to the kitchen. I used to, when I first started, hit a return or hit a drop and then sprint my way up there as fast as possible. And as I got to the higher levels, I realized that wasn't effective because trying to time hitting a ball while also running at the same time through the midcourt cost me a lot of points. So that's where the term "it's a marathon" comes in, because what I had to develop to reach the higher levels was my midcourt game and be able to reset effectively and work my way to the kitchen in small increments rather than getting there all at once. And I've got a great drill that helps me learn these things that I'm going to share with you so you can develop your midcourt game even faster than I did. So the drill I have for you is called 7-11, and it works like this. First, your partner needs to be standing up at the kitchen line like where Shay is right now. The catch is I'm going to stand over at the baseline. Now we're going to play a pickleball match, except I'm starting at the baseline and he's already at the kitchen line, and this does a couple good things. It forces me to work my way up to the kitchen to win the point because Shay is already in an offensive position and I start in a defensive position. I would be considered at a disadvantage and Shay would be at advantage. That's why in order to win the match, I only have to reach 7 points and he has to reach 11 to win. This is really fun and you can switch back and forth. After we do one match, I'll go up to the kitchen line and Shay can step back and we play this cycle over and over again. It's also a great thing to do if you only have one partner with you to drill. It's very simple and practices all the fundamentals of pickleball, especially the midcourt.
The most important piece of advice I've ever received in my time playing pickleball is to never win a game by accident. What that means is that you should have a game plan going into every single match and even every single point. Before you serve the ball, you should know exactly where you're going to hit your third shot, and then when you get up to the kitchen line, you should have a target in your mind. What we're talking about is having a system that you use to play with. And then whenever you get a point, remembering how you got that point so you can do the exact same thing next time. Why this is so important is because it removes all the decision making from your part. So just imagine I got a dink in front of me right here and now it's my turn to hit the ball. There are so many different places that I can choose to hit this ball. And I'm sure you've had this thing happen to you where you decide to do one thing and in the last second you decide to do another thing and then you end up doing neither of those shots. So instead, if you just have a specific place you're going to hit this ball every time, then it makes your life much easier. So maybe you think your opponent has a weak backhand. Whenever you get this shot, just choose to hit it to their backhand. And if you get a point on that shot, well, there you go. Now you know exactly what to do the next time you're up here. But if they prove that they have a really good backhand, then now next time you're up here, just choose something different. The important part is that you have a system that you can rely on. That way you don't have to be thinking about your next shot before you hit it.
And before we keep going with our list, we want to tell you about another way to improve incredibly fast at pickleball, and that's through our sponsor, Swing Vision. Swing Vision allows you to record your matches, but not just that. It also gives you a bunch of incredible data on your matches so you can analyze your games and see what you need to improve on the most. Let's show you how that works.
So Caleb and I just played a singles match and we're going to show you in Swing Vision all the cool stuff you can look at. So up first, you can see the number of shots that you hit in the game. And then if we click on the game itself, you can see it's taken down all the time between points. So up here, we had 32 different rallies. And whenever it cuts, there is no dead time anymore. It's just straight points. There's also a ton of information you can see about what type of shot you hit, how fast the shot you hit was, and where the shot landed. It even shows you things like a shot placement map and a hitting position map that you can filter by each individual player.
The next thing we want to do is toggle the switch for advanced stats, which is going to break down some of the shots in more detail. We can see that I got almost all of my third shots in at 92%. For me, that would be very solid. And the drives were also an incredible success rate, so I'm pretty happy with that. And for me, I can finally break down my types of shots that I hit through this nice little graph. So if you're ready to take your game to the next level, use our link below to sign up for Swing Vision. You'll get a $100 swing stick for free when you sign up for a year of Swing Vision Pro.
This lets you record 30 hours of gameplay per month, which is hundreds of games for only $12 a month. Plus, it comes with a 60-day money-back guarantee, so there really is no reason not to try it out.
Do it. Now let's get back to the video. The next really great piece of advice that I've learned is that counters are more effective than speed ups at the kitchen line. This is kind of a lesser known fact, but it's true. Statistically, the team that speeds up first loses the rally more often than the team that doesn't speed up first. And that's probably for a couple reasons. One, when we speed up, it's often due to impatience, so we speed up at the wrong time. And two, speedups are a difficult shot to hit, so we're likely to hit them out. That's why I recommend starting to focus on countering speedups rather than being the person to antagonize the point and potentially end it too early. I've got a really sweet drill that I'm going to teach you that kind of helped me solidify this, and hopefully it will do the same for you. Let's do it. The drill works like this. I start a dink rally with my partner, in this case, Shay, and we are hitting down the line. I'm going to hit one dink, he's going to hit one dink back to me, and on the third shot, I am going to speed up, and Shay is going to counter my speed up and reset the point. We'll do this back and forth over and over again, and the advantage is that we know when the speed up is coming, and we can go ahead and get used to being ready early and blocking it before it's able to be deadly. It's incredibly simple, but it's a great way to get some reps with your counters and also improve your speed ups at the same time. So let's do it.
Our next piece of advice is that footwork is what makes the difference between a pro and an amateur. Let me show you. So here's an example. You're up here at the kitchen line and you just started your pickleball journey. Someone hits a shot to your backhand, you don't really know what to do. So instinctively, most people tend to cross their foot over and then hit some kind of wacky shot back across the net. And that's what a beginner would do. An intermediate player, which is where I was just about a year ago, would tend to hop over to that side and not have the proper footwork. So ball comes over here, I was jumping over and then trying to hit the ball back. But then I was trying to figure out why I looked so much different than a pro, and I started analyzing them, and this is why. When pros get balls hit to their backhand, they take their inside foot, move it over and do a slight little shuffle like this, and then back across the net, they hit the ball. So every single shot that they hit, their footwork is incredibly balanced. No matter where they are on the court, they're trying to stay as balanced as possible, and because of it, they look so much more professional than the rest of us do. Another time this was happening to me was on my fourth shot. So imagine I just returned and now I'm up here at the kitchen line and my opponents are hitting a shot to me. They hit a drop shot and they were hitting around my feet. What I was doing was pushing off with my inside foot and then trying to hit the ball. But the much better thing to do is to take this outside foot, establish it as the inside foot, and then go here so that you're balanced the entire time. So now the motion looks like this, so I'm much more balanced with every single step. So to really solidify this, Caleb and I will do a quick drill here. We're both going to be standing at the kitchen line and we're just hitting dinks back and forth. But what we're really working on is moving the other player around and then them seeing how they move their feet to get to balls. Because if you watch the footage back, you'll probably see a lot of places where you could have made a more efficient movement.
The next biggest piece of advice that I've learned over the years is that the middle of the court is actually not the center white line. It is a moving target between my partner and I entirely through the rally. Let me kind of show you what I mean. Let's say Shay and I are in a dink rally and Shay gets pulled out wide to his left side. If I didn't move, we've left this entire gap in between us that a smart opponent would target and put a ball between us and win the point because I didn't cover him. But instead, as a good partner, what I should always be doing is watching my partner and the situation, and I should be shifting as if there's an invisible tether between Shay and I that I'm always stuck to. So in this case, Shay is pulled out wide, but now I'm already here. I'm ready to counter a potential speed up that they would hit to this open court. A lot of players really think that they have to stick to their side the entire time, and because of that, they don't cover gaps that open between the court. So I really like to emphasize the use of the tether between you and your partner during your rally. That way you're automatically moving to the right spot and able to cover the majority of the court. This concept doesn't just apply at the kitchen line. It's actually just as important when you're all the way back at the baseline. Let's say you accidentally lob up a ball to an attacker and they're going to hit an overhead. If Shay is pulled out wide to defend, again, I have to cover this side of the court more than my right side because now we've left it exposed. This tether works all throughout the court. It also teaches you how to focus more on your partner and the situation in front of you and adapt constantly. So don't get fooled into thinking that middle white line is all that important. Just focus on your partner and move together as a team.
Any given pickleball shot has about 20 places it could go. And if you're guessing, you're going to be wrong 19 out of 20 times. So if my opponent has a ball on their side of the court and they're about to hit it towards me, they could do so many things with it. They could dink it literally anywhere inside of this kitchen line. They could dink it cross court. They could speed it up at me on so many different parts of my body. They could lob it over me. There's a lot of things they could do with this ball. If I think I know what they're about to do, then the vast majority of the time, I'm going to be wrong. And this often comes in the form of premature movement. Most players have a tendency to move their paddle without even thinking about it. So traditionally, this looks like moving the paddle over to your backhand side. So you'll see for a lot of people, when the opponent has the ball on their side of the court, you'll tend to move the paddle to your backhand side in anticipation of them speeding up right here. But the problem with that is there's so many other places they could hit the ball or speed it up at your body. So anytime that you're moving prematurely because you think you know what's coming, means you're probably going to get it wrong a lot of the time. It's definitely okay to anticipate the most likely shot and slightly move to that side, but to make a full-on guess about what your opponent is going to do is going to leave you looking foolish the majority of the time. So I have a really simple drill to practice this. You and your partner will both be standing at the kitchen line, and one person will have the ball in front of them. So in this case, Caleb will have a ball. And all I want him to do is drop the ball and then speed it up at me. But the catch is, sometimes instead of actually hitting the ball, he'll miss it entirely. And my goal is to see if I have any premature movement and see if I'm moving in a specific direction without him even hitting the ball. As you get closer into the court, the total time you have to react to the shot from your opponent gets smaller and smaller. So any little false movement you do is just going to lead to you losing a lot of points over time.
A big thing I had to learn in pickleball, especially coming from tennis, is that I need to stop driving the ball whenever I'm uncomfortable. We call that a panic drive, and it happens in both tennis and pickleball, but in pickleball it's especially dangerous, and here's why. For some reason, when an aggressive shot is coming our way, or maybe we're a little bit uncomfortable hitting a shot, it just feels more natural to hit it as hard as possible to make sure it goes over the net and maybe catch our opponents off guard, getting us back into the point. But unfortunately, in pickleball, our opponents will often be already at the kitchen line, expecting a volley, and you're giving them a free opportunity to finish the point outright. So a panic drive almost never works, and I'm sure you felt that same experience when you've gone for something like that. I found out a big reason for why I also tend to panic drive is because I'm often just too lazy on the court and didn't focus on my footwork. I was avoiding my footwork, and on top of that, I was also avoiding the reset and drop game, and that's what really changed my game later and allowed me to reach the higher levels. So I want you to learn that right now, and I've got a simple drill that's going to counter that instinct that we have to panic drive and hopefully improve your game overall. Let's show you it. The drill I have for you is actually pretty simple. We want to develop the right shots to hit in the right moments. That way our instincts kick in to hit the correct shot rather than driving because we don't know what else to do. So I'm talking resets, and I'm talking drops, and I'm talking proper footwork. All you gotta do is get the reps in and get used to it. It looks like this. First up, a place I used to panic drive a lot is in the mid-court because it feels awkward. That's why I'm drilling resets all the time. Let's get some reps. On top of resets, I'm also trying to focus on getting low and getting my body in the right position to hit the correct shot. The next really important drill I don't see a lot of people practice, but I highly recommend it, is hitting drops, but from awkward positions. So I like to start back here on the tee of the court and have my partner, Shay, over there, feed a ball to the corner on the other side. That way I'm forced to shuffle and drop from an uncomfortable position. This also builds the right habits, so when I'm in an awkward spot, I know to hit a better shot rather than just a random drive.
The next best piece of advice that I've received playing pickleball is that your serve should be a weapon. This is the one shot that you have complete control over, so if you're not really focused on this, you're leaving some points on the table. I'm going to show you a few serves I like to do, but just as a general point, when you're hitting your serve, you want it to land in the court as deep as it possibly can. Because the returner has to let it bounce, if you can get that ball to land somewhere near the baseline, it forces them to stay back as they're hitting their return, which means they won't come up to the kitchen as fast. But most of you already know that, so let's show you some really good serves. One of the ways I've been weaponizing my serve recently is through a sliced serve from this side of the court. This is what it looks like. One of the best parts about this serve is that it moves away from your opponent's forehand and over towards their backhand, assuming they're a right-handed player. So because this ball travels through the air and moves as it's traveling, they think it's going to their forehand, but then as it keeps going, it goes to their backhand, which makes them have to do this really awkward movement or turn and hit a backhand, which is a more uncomfortable shot for most people. Another quick point on this serve is that you want to hit it pretty hard. When I was starting to learn this, I was trying to just baby the shot and just get it in, but that doesn't result in a really good sliced serve. So instead, really go for it, hit it hard, and try to really slice across the backside of this ball. That way it has a ton of spin and will move through the air after you hit it. So there are obviously a ton of ways you can weaponize your serve, but let me give you a drill so that you can practice on your own. So I like to put 3 cones on the court, one in the short corner, one at the back corner, and then one at the tee. And then I'll go to the other side of the court and grab 3 balls. A common complaint is that there's no one around your level that you can practice with. Well, this is something you can do by yourself that will elevate your game and requires nobody else. So this is a really simple drill. We're just going to be serving at those 3 targets. But the important part here is to take a lot of time between each serve so that you can make sure you're serving with intentionality. Caleb and I recently released a really good serving video on this channel. If you want more information about the serve, you can check the link in the description.
For number 9, another huge piece of advice that I've learned through pickleball is that my partner knows more about the shot they just hit than I do. And that has a lot of applications. Let me show you what I mean. Early on in pickleball, I would run up to the kitchen line as fast as possible and trust that my partner would just hit the perfect drop or drive to set me up at the kitchen. And I found myself often getting targeted at my feet when the shot was far from perfect. No shame to my partner. It's not on them to always hit a perfect shot because it's not always possible and it's definitely not easy. But what I've come to learn is that I should be trusting what my partner does and following their movements before I trust my own. So what we want to do is enforce the right habit instead. Don't just charge up to the kitchen line as soon as your partner is going to hit a drop or a drive, even if you think they have a good chance to hit a solid one. It's never a good idea until you know that it's the right time. And the way that you know is because they know. So the right habit is following my partner's lead. What we want to do is after they hit a drop, we want to see if they begin moving into the kitchen line because they've trusted their shot. If my partner starts moving forward, it means he thinks he's hit a solid enough drop or drive to allow us to advance to the kitchen line. So my job is simply to follow his lead. This also applies vice versa. If I'm the one hitting a drop from back here, Shay should follow my lead. And if I decide, oh no, I hit it too high, Shay would back up with me because now we need to be defensive. And vice versa, if I hit a really good one, we can start to work our way towards the kitchen. But the key is kind of like that tether point I made earlier. We always want to be following our partner's lead and adjusting based off of what they do first. It's a big piece of advice, very underrated, and it will help you work as a team far better than ever before.
Our last piece of advice is to avoid standing up in your strokes. This is the #1 cause of mishit balls. In any shot in pickleball, it makes sense to be in a low athletic position. And this is for a couple of reasons. One of the first reasons is that the majority of shots in pickleball are hit with topspin. And to get topspin on this ball, you have to hit up on the ball or brush up. And so to do that, you must get your paddle below the ball. That way, when you make contact, you can brush up the ball. But if you're not in a low athletic position, you can't do that. But the problem arises because we try to hit topspin, but we're standing up. And whenever that happens, you end up reaching for the ball and then hitting it not in the center of your paddle. And any shot hit on the edge of any paddle is not going to perform well. The next reason it's so important not to stand up in your shots is because it adds a lot of variance to your shot. So let's say I'm hitting a return and I'm set back here nice and low. Someone serves a ball at me and I go to hit it and I stand up as I hit it. Well, now whenever I'm moving away from the court, my paddle is also moving away from the court. And so this also results in mishits. It's much better to stay low through your stroke as you hit it. That way your paddle is on the same plane the entire time. And when you're staying low, your body weight's not moving forward, so you can naturally progress into the court as you finish your stroke. The big takeaway here is any shot in pickleball, make sure you are low and athletic, and it will make your life way easier.
Now you know 10 things that took us 10 years to learn. Hopefully this lets you improve way faster than we did.
And if you like that video, YouTube really thinks you're gonna like this one next. That one.
This is maybe our best video. We don't know though. I don't know what it showed.
But it could be.